I want to get to the next story here. Next story I want to get to, which is kind of weird. We've all been following this story very closely because it's tragic when you hear siblings sitting there and all of a sudden their mother is missing. At how old is she? 84 years old?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And this incident happens, and then the more and more you keep seeing stuff, the link, when it happened, when the announcement was made. Apparently, the people that have their mother is now asking for, did you say, Rob, $6 million in Bitcoin is what they're asking for? And then there's a we're willing to pay, we're willing to do this, we're willing to do that. Rob, which clip is this? This is
Savannah Guthrie talking about paying the ransom.
Okay, go for it, Rob. Go ahead.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Okay, Vinny, thoughts?
Okay, well, obviously tragic story, but at the end of the day, when something this massive happens, Tommy, I have to be like, why? Why her? Why Savannah on this level of this stage?
Right.
And I just want people to know that there's a fact. Savannah Guthrie, she's in the Epstein files. Rob, can you please put this up? Rob, can you show it? And by the way, this is all my assumption, this is all my allegation, but she's in the Epstein files. And if you could go up, Rob, right there. This is, I don't know who this is, Pat. I'm assuming because they redacted everything on the highlighted yellow and keep going down. Click on that one right there. Pat, if you read this, they obviously black redacted everything.
Can't see anything. You can read it.
I got you. Just wanted to give you a heads up. She's done another interview with Savannah Guthrie. I'm assuming they're talking about Virginia Guthrie. In that, she said the following. She was interviewed by the FBI in 2011 by a blank. In the interview, she gave the names of all the girls she helped to traffic. All right. She also interviewed the SDNY, no time frame. 2 other women also tell DOJ that Epstein specifically trafficked them to other men. Number 4, there are cameras in the New York City house and others where he could watch people in the bathroom and elsewhere. They're planned to air it on Today and this Friday's Dateline. Okay. Another fact, Savannah Guthrie is the first mainstream television journalist to interview an Epstein survivor. And then in 2015, again, this is all my speculation, Pat. I'm just out there going down this freaking rabbit hole. NBC executives, I'm pretty sure, knew that they released that. They're going to have to deal, Dateline was going to have to deal with, litigation and all that stuff. And then they had another thing called Reckoning, where a documentary on Dateline with all the Epstein survivors, that was going to lead to all this craziness. Now, Savannah Guthrie gave Virginia Guthrie a national platform and a voice to make these allegations that reach the highest levels of power. And if you guys remember, who was the main person that they were talking about? You guys remember? Prince Andrew. That was the number one, and they were going after him. And imagine all the stuff that came after him. But another thing, separately, Savannah Guthrie's husband, Michael Feldman, worked in the Clinton White House for 8 years. He served as the deputy assistant to President Bill Clinton as a senior comms and policy aid guy. His responsibilities were internal operations, message coordination, political strategy. And then after leaving, her husband co-founded the Glover Park Group. It's a Democratic-aligned public relations and consulting firm. Pat, you know what they basically do? They go around, Tom, and if there's stuff about you that they need to fix, they clean up your image and all that type of stuff. So I think right now, what we could be witnessing is not just an abduction, it's psychological warfare being used. Again, my speculation, but what if this is a form of institutional retaliation against someone who helped those figures? It's not random that she's in the files. It's not random that she interviewed Virginia. It's not random that she interviewed all these people. And you know what? I did a little digging. Do you guys remember who was another person towards the end of his life that was openly criticizing our government with handling of the Epstein files? Do you guys remember? What do you guys remember? Charlie Kirk. On July 14th, remember Trump came out and said, if you guys are doing this, you don't support me, I'm not with you. You remember that? That was July 14th. He told everybody to back off. That same day, Charlie Kirk said, I'm done talking about Epstein. And then guess what? On July 15th, the very next day, he flipped and he demanded that the files were going to be released and covering Epstein for nearly an hour on his show. An hour. And then less than 2 months later, I think it was 50-some days, Pat, he was dead. And this is him. This is the clip.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, what's your point?
Look at the connections. The girl that gave the platform to survivors, that exposed Prince Andrew, that blew the lid off. Guys, we never even heard of survivors, bro. We didn't know any of them existed until she gave them the platform. Okay, she gave them the platform. Maybe they wanted her husband to help because by the way, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are supposed to go and speak in front of Congress, this month, Tom? It's kind of
not if you have a say to it.
Well, I think it's connected. I think it's kind of connected. Why of all
what
people
do
her
you think
mother?
is the connection?
Because she's the
So
one.
I'm genuinely giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, yeah.
What are you saying exactly?
I'm saying she.
Like in a sentence.
My speculation is they're sending a message. You're giving them the platform. You gave these girls a voice. You're doing this. Maybe they asked her husband, who runs this firm. He's a partner at Glover Park Group, which helps Democrats, Adam, with their image and stuff. Maybe they asked him to help clean up and help with this thing, and he was like, "Nah, I'm not going to do it." This happens. There's no way. How is she randomly in the Epstein files?
Let me send you a clip.
It all
I
makes
found.
sense now.
But
It's connected.
Let me do this.
It's all connected.
Let me send you a clip from the lady Savannah and Trump, their history. I think this is the part that you have to hear, where the crisis happened on a day that's very, very weird. There's cops lined outside of their house the entire time trying to find out what the hell is going on. This is weird. Some people are even saying, could it be an inside job? So a lot of different angles people are taking, right? That maybe their own family did this for a different reason. I'm not saying that's the truth. All I'm saying is, but this is the history of Savannah Guthrie with President Trump. Go ahead, Rob.
Satanic cult run by the deep state.
Watch this.
I'll tell you what I do know about. I know about Antifa, and I know about the radical left, and I know how violent they are and how vicious they are, and I know how they're burning down
raise the volume,
cities run
Jake, a
by
little bit?
Democrats, not run by
Republican
Republicans.
Senator Ben Sass said, quote, QAnon is nuts, and real leaders call conspiracy theories.
He may be
Why not
right.
just say it's
Can I be
crazy and
honest?
not true?
He may be right. I just don't know about QAnon.
You do know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me
tell
ask you
all
another
about
thing.
it. Let's waste a whole show. You start off with white supremacy. I denounce it. You start off with something else. Let's go. Keep asking me these questions.
I do have one more in this vein.
Let me just tell you, what I do hear about it is they are very strongly against pedophilia. And I agree with that. I mean, I do agree with that, and I agree
But
with it
there's not
very
a
strongly.
satanic pedophile
I have
cult
no
being run
idea.
by-
I know
You
nothing
don't know
about
that? Okay.
No, I don't know
You
that.
just
And
this
neither
week.
do you know that.
Okay, just this week.
Why-
you
And
were
neither
tweeting
do
this
you.
to
He's
me.
given the right answer.
Antifa, why aren't you asking me
Because you
about the
just-
radical left?
because you're
Why aren't
volunteering
you
it.
asking Joe Biden questions about why doesn't he condemn Antifa? Why does he say it doesn't exist?
Because you're here before.
Back in 2024 during the election,
Watch.
I'm sorry.
Let it keep going.
she was attacking him left and right. I mean, talking to
I think there's
a
more.
former president of the United
Yeah, you
States
can
at
pause
that
it right
time.
here because there's a lot of clips between the two
100%.
and how the stuff that they said didn't exist came out to be true in many different areas. Then this is the one that's very creepy, folks. I'm sure you've seen this. The letter she's reading is verbatim from what the lady in the movie Silence of the Lambs said when they were talking about kidnappers.
Her daughter.
Wow.
Tell me this isn't creepy. Watch this.
She is full of kindness.
Catherine is very gentle and kind.
Talk to her and you'll see.
Talk to her and you'll see.
What? Wait. I mean, this is a little weird.
And it went on. There's actually a longer clip of it. And so my point is, think about this. What are the odds, Adam? What are the odds that Savannah Guthrie, she's in the Epstein files where it looks like Jeffrey Epstein is talking to somebody powerful saying she's going to go here, she's going to talk about this, she's going to talk about that. Then her husband worked for Clinton for 8 years, okay, leaves, goes to another company, partners up with a company that helps Democrats with their image and all that stuff. And then now the Clintons are testifying about the Epstein stuff this month. How do you not see a connection of somehow, somewhere, and then she's over here yelling at Trump? What, you're talking about there's demons and whatever is a pedophile satanic group? Yeah, there is. There is. What other type of human being sleeps with underage girls, allegedly buries them or puts them in sulfuric acid, kills them, they have trap doors and they throw them to the freaking sharks? It's like, when are we going to stop pretending that evil is real? That evil is real and it's happening in front of our faces. I think that once we stop playing that game, then nothing is off the table. Because you can't not see the connection. She was the biggest, she put the victim of Prince Andrew, a prince, and put her on the and sat there. You don't think NBC was like, oh my God, we're gonna get litigation. But she's like, we have to do it. You don't think this is a retribution? You don't think these people pay you back? You know, she's lucky she's not hanging from a tree in her house with a shotgun shot to her chest and there's no shotgun found, like Mark Middleton. She's lucky. She's lucky, and I pray that they find her mom. But this is all connected, bro. That's me.
Adam,
I don't think it's a family member.
I don't know if you, Tom, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yes. So when you go public with a kidnapping, these statements are not written by you in emotion and stress. These states are written by professionals that work with the law enforcement that are writing the message back to you because they are trying to do one thing. They're trying to get your person back, but they're also trying to set hooks or identify where they can catch the captors. Preserve life is number one because the law enforcement will look at you and say, look, if you want to pay the ransom, you're risking on losing this money and all you're going to get back is, a body at some point, if then. And so this, I believe, and I'm 90% on this, this was written by somebody in law enforcement. Now, did that person in law enforcement write the same thing from Silence of the Lambs? If they did, that's pretty lazy. But I'll also tell you this. These movies, I mean, I lived in L.A., Pat lived in L.A. I knew people that used to do law enforcement research for the show Law and Order. Pat, do you know how much they spent on research? They had consultants because they said, hey, we want to show the courtroom scene, we want to show this, but it's got to be accurate. It's got to be true. We want the procedure to be right. We want it to look authentic. And so if Silence of the Lambs, if they, took the time and done research to portray this correctly, and then the person that's working with Savannah Guthrie in law enforcement copied it, number one, I think that's lazy, but it does line up with exactly what law enforcement would want you to do. So I think this was not surprising to me. There is one fact. Everyone, including law enforcement, seems to agree an elderly woman was abducted. There's blood at the scene. And from there, those are the facts. Now, everything else, are these ransom notes real? Is this a copycat? We don't know that.
And $6 billion of Bitcoin is the ransom.
Because remember, in most of these, I hate to cast a bad light on this, Pat, but how many of these have you seen that they think it's this, they think it's that, it turns out to be it's a family member? Angry family members or angry friends that have broken something is usually the first path on here. It goes back to Scott Peterson. It goes back to
always the
cases like
always
this.
First, but yeah,
not always, but there's a really high percent that it was inside the circle of family and friends and community and someone's upset. So she's missing, there's blood, and I don't know. And I can't make the call on whether the ransom notes are accurate or a copycat. What if but there's some weird things going on that just shows you the law enforcement is just looking everywhere. They pulled stuff out of a mailbox. They were looking in a septic tank. Yeah. It shows that what law enforcement is doing with that is saying, what if it was a friend, family member, or a quick kill, and we're just looking for a body?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said speculation, Tom, but it is kind of weird that I'm not being Kevin Bacon 6 degrees. It's just obvious. She was the one. She was the one. And now the Clintons are about to testify. I don't know. Well, I mean, I pray for her. I hope she's okay.
I respect what you're saying, but there's a lot of dots there, and Vinny, to be honest,
people
and there's
don't like
there's a lot of journalists that are in this same realm. I mean, if this theme is there, then you would have a high-profile conservative journalist like a Sean Hannity, somebody coming after him. I'm not saying, I'm not suggesting, but I'm saying.
I got you, Tom. I get it. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Tom, go for it. Adam, go for it.
Okay. Well, let me just kind of cut through the noise. And as much as I love you, Vinny, there was a lot of noise there, but I do appreciate you literally going down the rabbit hole like you said you would. So I have not followed this at all, so I'll just be simple. Number one, this is not some sort of business transaction. This is an old woman who's being held hostage. On its face, that's what's going on. There may be extracurricular things going on. There's time to decide that.
Maybe.
Number two, the whole goal why they're using the Silence of a Lamb situation is because there's a playbook here. Number one, you need to humanize the person that's being held captive. She's kind, she's sweet, she's a mother, she's a grandmother. Please return my mother back to me is the same thing that anyone would say if their mother or grandmother was being held hostage. Number 3, the basic rule is you don't negotiate with terrorists. These people are terrorists, most likely, domestic terrorists, if you want to call them that. And I think it's going to end up very ugly for these people, because the last thing that these people want is to be just living with an old lady for the next 6, 12, 18 months. So they're doing this for the money, and let's see what the authorities, I'll agree with Tom here, the authorities are running this, not the Guthrie family.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. There's a lot of weird things to it, and, you know, anytime you're doing things, your job is to be able to consider everybody. Typically, they're going to look at, could it be an inside thing? Could it be somebody that's on the inside that's doing this? But because it's 84, and it's not like they're living in a house that's that outlandish that they're going to come in. There was the patterns of typical. It's very weird. So we'll see. We'll see what's happening. The statistic when I'm looking at this on what's happening with PBD Podcast, more ladies are starting to watch PBD Podcast, and it keeps climbing, okay? And, of course, we all know why that is. We have Vinny on the show, and we have Tom on the show, and we do have Adam on the show, okay?
Not so much.
But the ladies are starting to watch the podcast more and more. A lot of mothers and families and ladies who are getting on here. So, fellas or ladies, Rob, if you can go a little bit lower for Valentine's Day, if you want to get a Stefano Ricci collaboration tie with Valuetainment, these are limited numbered. We have them there, but also if you go a little bit lower for the ladies, the pink hats are here. By the way, these pink hats are pink Future Looks Bright hat. Rob, can you please click on it? Especially with Valentine's Day being around the corner. Go there. Okay, Future Looks Bright, pink hats. What on the bottom, if you keep going, it's a beautiful hat, by the way. Every time you see somebody wearing this, it pops. If you, ladies, you say you watch it, if you want to represent the Future Looks Bright hat, so when you're walking in the mall, you're at the gym, you're at work, you put this on, other people say, wait a minute, me too. I watched that show as well. I'm also a Valuetainer. Click on the link below. Get yourself one of these pink hats or some of the red gear that we have, especially with Valentine's Day being around the corner. It's the most expensive day of the year for me because it's my wife's birthday that day. My wife's born on Valentine's Day, and it's Valentine's Day. But we got a soccer tournament this weekend for us instead of Valentine's Day. So we got some stuff that we got to do because there's a soccer tournament. Anyways, go to vtmerch.com.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.